for your relationship now and in the future. Jacob loved Rachel, but he did not take her and run away. He was patient and served her father 7 years to marry Rachel. He wanted a blessing from her father. Even after being tricked by her father, he was willing to serve a further 7 years for Rachel. Infatuated love comes and goes quickly. Real love takes time and needs real sacrifice. And that is very, very true. When you guys are looking for a relationship, don't look for a feeling that you feel every other weekend or when you're just with them and that's it, and then you go home and you feel nothing. It's not about a movie. I remember thinking that I was really, really young, and I was like, but if his hair was in the wrong place, I don't love him anymore. Like, I was terrible. I was so terrible, and I'd be done. I dated a guy one time for one day, and I broke up with him the next day because I did not like him no more. It's terrible.
I know somebody who dated somebody for like an hour and then broke up with them.
I'm telling you, that's called infatuated love, okay?
I'm not going to say who they are.
You love it for a very short second.
Pretty sure it's Abby.
But a real love is someone that is willing to go miles for you and not just fall out of love with you the next day or a week later. They're willing to wait for you for when it's God's timing. Okay? So,
Like, I don't see how, like, you're like, I don't know, like you're with someone for so long and then they leave and then you don't miss them. How does that even
talking about me?
happen? No, I'm just
'cause
saying.
I'm that way.
What?
like when people are apart, like you feel like you don't like miss them, is that what you're
No,
saying?
I'm saying how do you not miss them is my,
If you love them,
yeah.
well then you don't. I mean, in general, but there's a thing called like, for instance, Bethany is one of my best friends and I love her to death, but I don't feel like I have to be with her every second. In a relationship, shouldn't be like that in general. Like if you're dating someone and if you think you have to be with them every second, that's too much.
You're just clingy.
Then you're just, because
I
a
can't do
good
that.
relationship does not need to be with each other every day. That's actually a very unhealthy relationship if you feel like you have to, like, you can want to, but, like, doing it all, like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yes.
you can want the feeling, but you don't need to be with each other every day to feel like you're in love with somebody.
Sorry, I'm
You know
recording
what
a
I'm
Bible
saying?
study. We're just trying to post it
So,
online.
anyways, so that's what I would say there, is that you can love someone and be apart. And like this, just like this verse, like when he's talking about Rachel, Jacob and Rachel, he says, and Jacob served 7 years for Rachel, and they seemed unto him by a few days for the love he had for her. It felt like a few days, even though he literally had to wait 14 years for her, kind of, because he had to marry the other one first, and then later he got her. So, I mean, he had to wait
Ridiculous.
for her, but he still felt like it was a few days, because he cared about her enough to wait for her.
That's so sweet.
Isn't that sweet? He cared about her enough to wait for his true love. And guess what?
Yeah,
He was still faithful to his other wife. So, I mean, you think about that.
Yeah, 'cause it was all right there.
So, he had to be. Okay, and then, so we're going to read Matthew. So, everyone pull up Matthew 14. Follow the Bible study. This is only one chapter. This one's talking about Herod. I don't know
One verse?
if everyone remembers this story.
It's in your. No, it's not. The next one is Genesis.
No, mine's?
Mine is Matthew. I mean, Matthew.
Mine is Matthew.
It'll go to Genesis
Go
29,
next,
but then you
and then it goes that,
pick the next one.
and the next one's Matthew. Okay, who wants to start? Read a couple, and then somebody can finish. Tiana,
It's going, so.
you want to get yours?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
At that time, Herod and
Tetrarch.
that heard of the fame of Jesus, and said unto his servants, This is John the Baptist. He is risen from the dead, and therefore mighty works do show forth himself in them. For Herod had laid hold on John and bound him and put him in prison for Herodias.
Yeah, like his Herodess, like it was his wife.
Okay, sake, his brother's Philip's wife. For John said unto him, It is not lawful for thee to have her. And when he would have put him to death, he feared the multitude, because they counted him as a prophet. How long do you want me to read? Like the whole chapter?
Just read like 10 verses or something. I don't care. Whatever you feel like you can read, and then Alyssa can read them.
I forgot words.
But when Herod's birthday.
Oh, but when Herod's birthday was kept, the daughter of Herodias danced before them and pleased Herod. Whereupon he promised with an oath to give her whatsoever she would ask. And she, being before instructed of her mother, said, "Give me here John Baptist, head in a charge." What? Charger. I was like, what? And the king.
I wish it was over.
My phone died.
Girl, keep reading.
My phone died.
Oh, we did?
And the king was sorry, nevertheless, for the oath in them which sat with him at meat. He commanded it to be given her. And he sent and beheaded John in the prison. And his head was brought in a charger. What's this charger thing? And given to the damsel. And she brought it to her mother, and his disciples came and took up the body and buried it, and went and told Jesus. When Jesus heard of it, he departed thence by the ship into the desert place apart. And when the people had heard thereof, they followed him on foot out of the city.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm finished.
All right, let's see. You want
I'm
to read
14.
There you go, Alyssa.
14? Yeah, 14.
And Jesus went forth and saw a great multitude, and was moved with compassion towards them, and he healed their sick. And when it was evening, his disciples came to him, saying, "This is a desert place, and the time has now passed. Send the multitude away, that they may go into the villages and buy themselves victuals."
Yeah.
That's what I thought. But Jesus said unto them, "They need not depart, give ye them to eat." And they say unto him, "We have here but 5 loaves and 2 fishes." I hate that. Fishes. Anyways, he said, Bring them hither to me. And he commanded the multitude to sit down on the grass, and he took 5 loaves and 2 fishes. 2 fishes. I hate that.
Fishes.
It doesn't sound right. And looking up to heaven, he blessed and brake and gave the loaves to his disciples, and the disciples to the multitude. And they did all eat, and they were filled, and they took up of the fragment that remained 12 baskets full. And they that had eaten were about 5,000 men, beside women and children. And straightway Jesus constrained his disciples to get into a ship and to go before him into the other side, while he sent the multitude away. I don't want to read it.
Okay. And when he had sent the multitudes away, he went up into the mountain apart to pray. And when the evening was come, he was there alone. But the ship was now in the midst of the sea, tossed with waves, for the wind was contrary. And in the fourth watch of the night, Jesus went unto them walking on the sea. And when the disciples saw him walking on the sea, they were troubled, saying, "It is a spirit." And they cried out for fear. But straightway Jesus spake unto them, saying, "Be of good cheer, it is I, be not afraid." And Peter answered him and said, "Lord, if it be thou, bid me come unto thee on the water." And he said, "Come." And when Peter was come down out of the ship, he walked on the water to go to Jesus. But when he saw the wind boisterous, he was afraid, and began to sink. He cried, saying, "Lord, save me." And immediately Jesus stretched forth his hand and caught him, and said unto him, "O thou of little faith, wherefore didst thou doubt?" And when they were come unto the ship, and the wind ceased, then they that were in the ship came and worshipped him, saying, "O of a truth thou art the Son of God." And when they were gone over, they came into the land of Gennesaret, something like that. And when the men of that place had knowledge of him, they sent out into all the country round about, and brought unto him all that were deceased. And he besought him that they might only touch the hem of his garment, and as many as touched were made perfectly whole. Okay, so there's like 50 million stories in here. Did you notice that? Like all the stories I heard as a child, they're all in this one. Okay, so there's like 50 million stories in here. Did you notice that? Like all the stories I heard as a child, they're all in this one chapter. So it starts with John the Baptist. I know, it's a lot of reading. It's literally 3 stories. So John the Baptist, right? Why was he in jail? Do you guys remember why John the Baptist was in jail? Do you remember, Cameron?
Preaching the gospel?
Huh?
Wasn't it because he was preaching the gospel?
I'm trying to remember. I think he was because of the wife said that she because he was working in the house, and John, the wife said that he basically like tried to woo her.
Do the nasty.
Yeah.
Solicit.
Because remember, she had a piece of something. She had like his coat or something like that. Wasn't that him?
That was Potiphar's house.
That was
Jacob
Potiphar's
and Potiphar's house.
Here, but it's the same story, I think. I think it's like the same outline.
I've never
like
heard
the
this
wife
story.
did something.
Apparently
That's why
me
the
either.
wife wanted him killed, which just made the sister or the daughter.
I haven't heard a lot of the stories. that
Anyways,
he talks
so he was
about.
in jail, and yeah, I think you're right. I don't think that's the right one. Now that I'm thinking it out, but I know. Okay, so anyways, so he's in jail. His head gets cut off. They tell Jesus. They go back and tell Jesus.
Wait, John the Baptist died?
Yes, John the Baptist is the one that didn't. He didn't live as long as most of them. He lived a very short life.
Well, guys, didn't know that one.
Yeah, John the Baptist was beheaded, and so anyway, so he was beheaded, and then it goes on, I think, to talk about the loaves and the bread. Let's see.
Oh, loaves and the bread in the same story as someone dying.
No. Right?
It's the same chapter, but
Yeah,
The loaves and the bread? You mean the fish and the
the
bread?
fish and the bread. I meant loaves,
She said
which is
the
the
loaves
bread.
and the bread.
Loaves are the bread.
of something.
So funny. Okay, no, actually,
Have
it
that
goes
ketchup.
to Serna's birthday, blah, 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 promise,
Have the
and being
ketchup.
introduced to his mother, John the Baptist.
Think about it.
And he was not the charger and the damsel, and when
Somebody
Jesus
died.
heard it, he departed.
There's
And
bread.
went forth.
Ketchup.
Multitude was moving back towards him. You're
not getting this.
Just said
blood.
they need not. Well, they grass and took the 5 loaves. Okay, so yeah.
Dip the
So he
bread
took
in
the
his
5
blood.
loaves and the 2 fishes. So there was 5 loaves, 2 fishes.
We're listening to the Bible study.
5 loaves, 2 fishes.
Quit throwing things at me.
Right?
That word, fishes.
Fishies.
I'm gonna
Little
do like a little count of how many times we say fishes.
5 loaves, 2 fishies. 5 loaves, 2 fishies. Okay.
Is that like a song? What the
No,
heck?
but we making it one.
No,
Hey,
please
5
no.
loaves,
Please no.
2 fishes. 5 loaves, 2 fishes.